Hello, everybody. David Atkins here, target individual. I'm here with Vinny again. The last time he didn't really think he was too prepared for the interview. It was kind of on the whim thing. And this time he's more prepared. So here's Vinny. He's anyway. So I'm just going to go right into it and ask Vinny. Let's see. I got these questions out of order. When did your targeting start?
Hey, Dave, I'm glad to have the. I'm glad to be back here. My targeting started. It was about August of 2020, and it started with gang stalking. It's. I noticed three cars were following me one day, and the one car behind me, I had just had a hunch. I'm like, is this guy following me? So as soon as I was at the intersection with the, and it was a red light. Immediately when it turned green, I immediately pulled off to the side of the road, and he stopped and he looked at me, and he gave me like a surprised look as if, how did he know that? Um, so for some time, it stopped for some time. Then when I bought my new truck back in, well, it was a used truck back in, it was the first day of, or it was late March of 2021. That's when the gang stalking it it heavily increased. Instead of three cars, it was 8 to 10 vehicles, and they made it very known to me that they were following me. Everywhere I was going, they were boxing me in, obsessively shining their high beams on me. The thing with the high beams was very intense. As I was driving along the highway, I would notice there would be other vehicles parked alongside the highway, like facing. It would be, yeah, they were facing horizontal to the highway, so their high beams were shining on the highway, and as I was driving by, they would wait for me coming back to my house. As soon as I would pull up, they would have. In fact, I had one car are facing towards me, parked in the middle of the road as I was pulling onto the street. Uh, this was like the third or fourth day. I was outside replacing it was the front valance of my truck, and I had noticed there was a vehicle down the street from my house, parked in the middle of the street at the stop sign, and there was a bright light on the side of the vehicle. And this is before when I really figure out what was going on. Yeah, they were again, they had this thing, they were slowly trying to make me paranoid about bright lights because again, bright lights, it's a form of torture. And yeah, they were there for about almost 3 hours, and very strange how nobody was saying anything to them. I finally got in my truck, and I went to go over to investigate it. Soon as I start coming down the street, I saw them pulling their spotlight. It was two young guys, and they immediately took off. They were driving a four-door SUV. Um, man, it was. I ended up getting into an accident because of that. They had. I was. They had. There was somebody that was driving in front of me very slowly in both lanes, and as I was coming around, I passed through the intersection. It was on a curve, and I made the mistake of going to my left instead of my right to go around her. And out of nowhere, this guy, I crashed right into him. So,
Wow.
and I only had the truck for about 3 months, and it just completely totaled it from fender to tail light. Man, I was so disgusted about that. And it was so frustrating because even though my father saw these people waiting for me in front of our house, he wouldn't say anything about it. Like he didn't think it was that big of a deal. And I'm like, Dad, don't you? Who are these people? Can you tell me?
Right.
Um, Man, it was just so. And then for some time, I didn't have a vehicle, and things that had slowed down, but over the course of the summer, this is where the microwave attacks start coming in, and I would get sharp pains. I would, it wouldn't be that cold outside, and it was like experiencing arthritis, and I didn't know it. Eventually, that's when the V2K started. It was late August of 2021. So the gang stalking began in April, and the V2K began in late August. And how they did it was they tried to convince me that they were talking to me through my phone, until I noticed something was, and it started with just, it was very strange. They were doing like this echoing effect where they had multiple people speaking, but it began with, well, it was almost always two people that would talk to me. The one person identified herself as Stephanie, and the other was this older man. And first, they were just mocking me about everything I was doing. You know how it is. They give you social commentary about everything you're doing. They would repeat my own thoughts back to me all the time. It was just a nightmare. Then eventually, after about 2 weeks of this, and that first week, they were constantly threatening to kill me, because again, they're always trying to simulate, or what they simulate, paranoid schizophrenia to be.
Yeah,
their version of it.
I want to pause right there just real quick, because like right
Mhm.
before I interviewed you, they told me, well, V2K said, well, if you interview him, you're dead. So, they do. That's just an example. And
Yeah.
then Vinny got to witness, like right when we're fixing to do the interview, the doorbell rings, and nobody
Yep.
ever comes to this door, and they're doing multiplication, saying 9 times 4 is 54, and 6 times. I turned it on, so we got to witness that before it started too.
It's such a, and they do some of the strangest things. Like it was very obvious that they did that to interrupt the interview, and like multiplications, like again, like it just weird. Like,
Why are you going to be out? I guess I don't know why they were doing it, but well, I do. They were interrupting the interview, but
Mhm.
so go on. You were talking about your V2K. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
so during that first week, they were threatening to kill me. They would say, "We're gonna kill you. We're gonna kill you," and that was over and over. And they waited until I would go to work to start their nonsense a lot of times, because again, anything to, they want to destabilize me, anything just to make me look like a fool in front of my employee co-workers. And fortunately, at the time, I was in a position where I wouldn't, because I drive a truck. I was driving a water truck, and I wouldn't have to be around anyone. So they were just, they would sing, what was it? So this one, they would have their chants and their expressions. One of the things they would always repeat would be, "I'm an asshole. You're an asshole. We're all assholes." And they would do that over and over again. They would would do nursery rhymes, "Ring Around a Rosie." Um, and this is when I couldn't understand. Like, I could not believe what was going on. I'm like, how are you able to communicate with me? Because this is telepathy, what you're doing. Only to, later learn that it really is telepathy, electronic telepathy, what they're doing.
Do you ever get word associations, like somebody you think is a butthole comes up to you and starts talking to you, and they tell you, and you hear the voice in your ear, butthole, he's a butthole, stuff like that, like word associations with every different person.
Yeah. Yo, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's been a while since I've had it, but yeah, they would do word associations with me. One of the big things they would do with me would be whatever what was discussed with me through whatever was told to me over the V2K. Like, for example, either my father or this former close friend I had, and again, I didn't realize they were speaking to me using, they were uh, disguising their voices in the voices of my family members and my friend. I was actually just talking to, just the perp, but I really believed that at the time I was talking to my father over the V2K or communicating with him telepathically. And so what was said to me over the V2K, either my father or my friend Mike would repeat back to me, but I didn't realize at the time they were just using the psychotronic mind control on them. They were, mind controlling them into repeating to me what was said during the V2K, because outside of like certain things that they would say to me, they wouldn't have any idea what I was talking about. And they would always make just say really absurd, like they do extremely, you know how it is. They say just some of the most absurdest things. Um, so yeah, it was just nonstop. They would not let me sleep. I would be awake for, almost 5 days. They finally went into trying to hypnotize me. And with the whole hypnosis thing, you know how they make your mind race or they crash your mental acuity. I felt my mind was racing to the max, and they were able to influencing. They were basically, to a degree, mind controlling me and making me do just mindless tasks around the house, and they were trying to get me confused between what is left and what is right. And after being awake for almost 5 days and just completely fatigued, that's when they would start doing their hypnosis. And just like I said the last time, they instructed me to go into my basement, turn all the lights off, and they were like, imagine driving a car driving down the street. Look into the headlights, look into the left headlight, and look into the right headlight. I want you to open your eyes and turn the lights on and look into the light. And the first time I did that, I remember going into a trance. And I was just I was like I was almost vacant in my mind. I was just standing there awaiting instructions. And I began walking forward. And thankfully, I'm I'm a fairly clumsy person. I'm very accident prone. I
No.
stubbed my toe into the frame of my door, and it was enough to wake me up. And I immediately when as soon as I'm like, oh my god, what am I doing? Why am I listening to these people? I ran over and I immediately doused my head under the faucet, and that completely woke me up. And they freaked out so bad. He screamed F you at me at the top of his lungs. She sounded like she was gonna cry. But if this was AI, wow, that's if AI is on a whole another level. I'm pretty certain it was two real people. The thing about the crying, I don't know. I mean, but the anger felt very genuine though. Like they spent so much time building up to that point, trying to hypnotize me. And then at the very last moment, I snapped out of it, and they weren't expecting that.
Right.
Um,
How did you figure out where what targeting individuals were?
I eventually, so I started researching. I couldn't remember what was the first thing I started looking up, but it was when I came across Havana syndrome, and this was so the initial period lasted for 2 months. During that time, I never they kept me off my computer to research anything. I was like in the complete blank about it. So I ended up getting through to, and after I was released, I was only in the hospital for less than 3 days. I completely forgot everything. I don't think I told you this last time. I actually didn't remember all the episodes I had. It wasn't until the next major attack happened. That was late January. It suddenly flooded back. It was like a gate opening, and I'm like, oh my god, all of that was real. It wasn't just in my head. That's when I started. That's when I found the information about where Havana syndrome started. They were that I forgot to mention too. They were constantly doing loud buzzing noises, all the classic Havana syndrome things I was going through. And I still at that point wasn't familiar with targeted justice, or I remember hearing about targeted individuals, but I thought that was for high profile people. I had no idea. I never even thought of looking up anyone online about it. You know, and it wasn't until I had gotten arrested. That was a whole nother situation, that I had gotten arrested in March of 2022. They were making me sleepwalk. And just like I was telling you last time, I would wake up every 5 to 10 minutes, and I was in a new place again until finally I was found in a McDonald's parking lot at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I went to jail. I was away for about 2 months. And while I was in there, I spoke to somebody about, well, I told a lot of people, no one believed me, but except with the exception of like 2 people. The one guy who I spoke to, he's like, yeah, when you get out, go on Reddit and look it up. And that's when he told me about target individuals and how he claimed to experience a lot of the same things we've experienced. So that's when I got out in July of 2022. I immediately went on Twitter. And that's when the first person I like I was telling you last time, the first TI talked to online was that guy. He's on X. He goes by Justice for TI.
Justice for TI, yeah.
And we used to text each other every day. Then he went to see Dr. Hoffer in Florida. When he came back, he was never the same again. Like every time I talked to him now, it's like talking to
I actually talk to him sometimes. He's questioned me before. He's really leery.
Maybe I wonder if that's just the way he is then.
Yeah, that's just the way he is.
Okay,
he put me through rigorous, like accusing me and stuff before, and then he's like, "No, dude, I know you're real." And then the next day he's questioning me again, and
oh god, okay.
Every now and then he messages me. He's cool though. But that's the thing. They keep us divided like that. They keep us questioning each other because, that's what they do. They don't want us to get together, so they keep us so paranoid through traumatic situations that it's hard for us to trust another person, much less another TI.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't take stuff like that personal.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it was. There was the whole reason why I thought he was a perp was because I hadn't talked to him for about 2 months, and that night I had brought him up to my friend Jess about who he was. Then out of nowhere, he text messages me. I'm like, what is the coincidence? I did not talk to him for 2 months, and it probably was just the actual coincidence.
Or they could have mind controlled him to text you then.
Right, yeah.
I mean, this stuff is deep.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely right. That's what they probably did. Or maybe it was one of the actual perps that messaged him from his phone number.
Yeah, or miss. Yeah,
The guy,
could have been
because
that too.
I know they can do that. I was another thing. I was having a lot of problems with my cell phone. Like my phone would get real hot. They would make it very obvious to me that someone was that they were remotely they were using remote automation on my phone.
Yeah, dude, I had just charged my phone up in 2018. I'll never forget this. I had just charged it up to 100%. I'm homeless, and you know, if you're homeless, you need a phone. I
mm,
watched my phone. My phone got hot in my hand. I watched it go from 100 to 0, 99, 98, 97. The battery count down just like that. They
oh my
drained it just like
god.
that. It freaked me out, man, because I really wasn't. I was new to this TI stuff. I didn't know
Yeah.
what was going on. So I'm like, am I watching this? And my phone was really, really hot at that point.
Oh, I could imagine. Yeah. Oh god, I had it happen. They've done it where yeah, they um where the clear code on the case my phone start melting.
Yeah.
Or they'll disable the fast charging on your phone, so it's only charging like 5% every 30 minutes. But
Yep.
I could imagine how much that freaked you out. Like I man.
Yeah, because I needed my phone. I'm homeless. I'm staying at
Mhm.
the Salvation Army. Got to get $10 every day to stay there. So I need my phone, and I'm just watching it. Every time I charge it up, they drain it. Yeah.
I oh man,
But I've had them text other TIs from my phone and act like I'm mad at them or like I don't want to talk to you no more. So they never. And then years later, I talked to this dude. He's like, dude, you texted me and said you didn't want to talk no more. I said, dude, that wasn't me. He
oh
said,
my
well, I
god.
never texted you again.
Wow.
Yeah, so they can really do some stuff if they get into your phone the right way.
Yeah. It I'll tell you
That's
since
why it's good too to keep your contacts written down.
yeah, oh yeah.
Because if they crash your phone, you've lost all your contacts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have my passwords written down because that's what happened the last time. I got locked out of so many accounts because I was using 2FA and on almost every account I had to make new social medias for everything. So yeah, I got to rewrite those, but it's always a good idea to just to write everything down.
Yep.
But yeah,
Uh, have do you still experience microwave weapons? Of what do you experience with them?
I
Like
do.
me, I get heated up. Like yesterday, man, they heated me up so bad I sweat from 8 to 12. I'm talking about profusely. My head was heated up. I sweat, nausea. Um, Lucky my girlfriend gets Zofran. It's for nausea, and I
Mhm.
put one on my tongue when I get nauseated, and then I get shocks. If I close my eyes, I'll start getting shocked in the back of my head. My whole body will start to vibrate. So I really, really, really have to be sedated to even get any sleep. I get prescribed Seroquel and stuff like that, and I take magnesium sometimes and melatonin sometimes. But yeah, so they really bother me. So I was just wondering what they do to you.
I experienced not to the level they hit you really hard, but there are so after the first interview we did, like I was telling you before, they burn my ears every day. Now today and yesterday, actually for the first time in like months, this is like the best it's ever been. I'm actually very surprised they're not from my ears right now. I don't know, something must be going on. But yeah,
Now, see what they do is when they give you a break, they come back harder when they
oh
come back.
man,
That's what they do to me. I'll be like, oh, I got 2 days break, man. I love it. Next day, next week was hell.
oh
You
my
know,
god. Uh,
yeah,
they now I've gotten like I'll still get some like those shooting bull pains here and there, but so yeah, the ear burning began in late 2022, and ever since then, it becomes significantly worse when I try to sleep. All every night they shock my As soon as I sit down, they start shocking my body. I'll get shooting pains. If I close my eyes for a second, if I'm starting to fall asleep, they my arms or legs or entire body will involuntarily jolt.
Yeah.
I've had dream manipulation. Now, I haven't had a heavy episode in quite a while. Thank God. During my heavy episodes, I would get brutally tortured with them, dude. It was the like I don't have to tell you, like, you know how it is, but it was the absolute worst pain of my life. Like, and meanwhile, you're in like a great amount of pain, and they're screaming at you over the V2K. Um, but from but since then, uh, a normal day would be like my ears will. It's off and on. Sometimes it'll just be my right earlobe. It'll sometimes just be both of my ears, or it'll be my left top my ear. But
Does your
then
head heat up at the same time?
yeah,
Yeah,
especially the
like feels
back of
like
the
your
head.
brain is frying inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They then that's probably exactly what they're doing. Uh, but yeah, I'll end up wearing I got 1 yard of the Faraday. Now, it sometimes helps. Like, I'll wear it around myself like a cape, and it will usually help, but there are times where it just does nothing at all. And that was pretty good advice, like what you told me the last time when that starts happening. I noticed when I'm moving around, I'm being active, I'm
Yeah,
doing
that's
like
what Brian
multiple
too taught
things.
me. Multitasking. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he's been up on some really good videos recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when you start multitasking, it throws the supercomputer off.
Yep. Yep. Because you're
Um,
thinking about multiple things at once and you're thinking in multiple threads, so it can't keep up. So yeah. Have you ever ran across a honeypot or a hand? Do you have a handler or have you ever ran across a honeypot? You know what that is, right?
yeah. When it's basically when uh like
Somebody who
yeah.
gets they get with you to get information about
Mhm.
you, to know your fears, know what's going on, and communicate with the perps to keep you targeted worse.
I haven't. I'll be honest. I really haven't. I'm trying to think.
And I'm going to do a good video. I've wrote a lot of information down on honeypots, and I'm going to do a really good video coming up. I was going to do it yesterday, but that Homeland Security Committee video, I posted that because I felt like that was important when they're talking about targeting with weapons with no exit wounds or entry wounds,
Oh my gosh.
silent
Yeah,
weapons. Yeah.
I really got to check that out.
Yeah.
I'll check. I'll check out that. You uploaded
And
it.
if you want the whole thing, if y'all want the whole thing, just let me know in the comments and I will post the whole thing because there's like an hour and 30 minutes. I found the whole video. So
Oh,
it was
excellent.
just now May 8th. It was 3 days ago. So
Wow. And
yeah.
that really should like scream alarm bell, because I've been trying to tell so many people in the truth community and in other communities about we're at the forefront, we're at the precipice of what they intend to do to all of humanity. They have the technology to read your mind. They can see whatever you envision in your mind. They can see through your
Oh
eyes.
yeah. Don't mention that.
Right. Oh
Okay.
yeah, my mistake. Yeah, I don't want to.
No,
Yeah,
you didn't. You didn't. I was just warning you.
you're right. I forgot about that. It's ridiculous. How we're getting censored too. On top of that, um, they're able to. They have perfected electronic telepathy. They have anti-gravity technology. That's another thing. That would happen to me while driving. When I was driving, you could feel the weight and pressure on my car, and my engine was bogging down, and they were actually making my front end of my car lift up and down. And this was like, I only had my car for like 3 weeks, and the first day that began happening, there was nothing wrong with the paint in my car, and I noticed all these circles, round spots where, oh, also the fabric on my headliner started drooping down. And then on the roof of my car, there were these round spots where all the clear coat was starting to melt. So obviously they also have anti, and this is crazy to me
Oh
that,
yeah, Brian too was talking about that. He said they can move objects in your house and do
oh,
all
they
that
did.
stuff.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did that to me before. They blew up a glass of iced tea in front of my face. They knocked me off of my ladder, and I fell into my TV. Oh, they did that. They would use that thing on me quite a bit. I forgot.
We got this little bear. We got this little bear that you got to touch. You got to squeeze the paw real hard. It's
Mhm.
old. It was from when she was a kid, and it goes off every now and then.
Oh
Just
my
goes
gosh.
off, and you got to really squeeze it. Nobody's touching it. Nothing. So we don't know if it's her mom that passed away that's doing it, or if they're doing it. Because
Yeah,
they have the
right.
capabilities to make that bear go off. Weapons. Yeah.
They constantly tap my walls all
Radio,
day
if your
long.
radio cuts off and on and turns up, you know what that is, don't you? They're hitting you with frequencies. Well, the radio runs off frequencies, and that's why the stations change and stuff. Sometimes when you're getting hit, your radio stations will automatically change just because you're getting hit with radio frequencies. It's
Oh yeah,
changing the
yeah.
radios. Yeah.
Hmm.
Have you had that happen?
I
It happens to Holly all the time.
I
Her radio gets turned up, her stations change, all kinds of stuff happens.
the AM radio didn't work at my house for a long time. They would do other things with me. They would turn off my television. I didn't have. I'm trying to think if I had that happen with my radio. I know the AM didn't work. The AM radio works now, but when I was under a heavy attack, yeah, the radio would barely work.
Yeah.
Um, but they didn't change like the stations wouldn't change on me. I had an instance where they fried the magnetic strip on a credit card. It was on a gift card, and they fried the magnetic strip on that.
Wow. Yeah, and then I seen a post this morning from a girl. She said her radio keeps going to religious stations only. She
Huh.
can't turn it to no other station. They automatically turn it to religious station. And if
Wow.
she turns it, they turn it back. So
Oh,
they're really getting advanced with this stuff. But it's been advanced since the 90s. We're just now knowing about it from what I've
yeah.
been researching. They've had this technology for a long time.
Yeah, like we're messaging or I that post you made yesterday. As long as they've had cell phone towers, they've been using them for other purposes. Because I really thought this all began with 5G, but no, it's been around for much longer.
Yeah, 5G just perfected the whole grid,
Yeah. Yep.
basically.
That's
Yep.
why that's why there's I think if we were still if it was still 4G, I don't think I would have been targeted yet, but it was I think they waited till 5G because like Edward Snowden said, they were listening to everyone and they probably had certain people lined up. I really think I don't know the exact reason why I was targeted.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was out of opportunity for them because again they're looking for people to experiment on and just to torture. Oh, there was I so there was this mother from Central PA who I'm positive she was targeted. They used V2K on her and they coerced her into killing her own son. And I actually written her a letter and I called her a public defender. I want to see what happens. Maybe they can use that because I it's really horrible what happened. But I don't know. Maybe
So
if
you
they,
sent her a letter because you're interested to see if she was hearing stuff before that?
yeah, I want to find out, if she's actually truly targeted, and because I wrote her like 10 different questions, um, I all the basic ones, but one of the things they always do is they always repeat your own thoughts back to you. That was one of the questions I had asked her. So I feel really bad for her. She prior to this incident, she never did anything. She got one speeding ticket, and I just feel just absolutely like what a horrible situation that they were able to convince her to do that.
Yeah, I
And
seen this dude on the news. This happened a couple weeks ago, and I'm not sure where it happened at, but uh, so this woman called her ex-husband and said, "Can you watch my kids? Because I have to take my son to the hospital. He had a bicycle wreck. Can you watch my other three kids?" Well, he takes them to a park, kills all three of them, and kills himself.
oh my god,
Yeah, so I'm wondering if they didn't tell him to do that. I don't know why somebody would do that. You know what I'm saying? I just can't
yeah.
comprehend. If there's a lot of kids being killed lately by parents, and I'm wondering if there's any correlation with B2K or mind control or something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised. You know what? Now that you mention it, there's been an upset. It's been reported. I just read something this morning in the news. Some guy was sentenced to 45 years. Well, okay, no, his situation was different. He was starving his kid. But yeah, but I'm sure that it was just in the headline, though. You know, they're always
But why
looking
would anybody want to do that? It's just
right.
it's happening more and more and more.
Hmm. It doesn't make any sense.
Do you experience smear campaigns? Have you experienced smear campaigns before?
Yeah, there was one instance where, um, so, oh yeah, one of the other things they do is with me for, it was, this was in a few days right before Halloween, they kept on accusing me of being a racist. I was leaving my neighbor's house, and there was a group of black people staying in the street, and they were all saying, like, the racial slurs to me, calling me honky, this and that. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on, other than I have people communicating with me that over V2K. So yeah, that was the closest they did to it. I come to my house, the front door is open. I'm assuming my father is outside with the candy. He wasn't there though. I don't know where he was. Outside, he had the bowl of candy on the table. I walk in my house, I turn around, I come back outside. It was only like within 30 seconds. Somebody stole the entire bowl of candy within that time I was in my house. But yeah, they had they obviously, there was definitely, they must have gotten that group of black people, they were put there, but that
They were
was
probably told you were racist, and so they had something against you.
oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. I never
But the way the gang stalkers look at you, it's like, are they being mind controlled, or have they been told something horrible about you? That's
right.
that's the question. There's a fine line between that, because they look at you with scorn when they're stalking you. I know the whole airport was looking at me like I was some kind of outcast
I
at the
had
Denver airport, and I'm like, or my stalkers have always done that, and I'm like, and at one point I was on Bourbon Street in New Orleans in 2018. This dude comes up to me and says, "Yeah, I know you're a pedophile, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "All right, well, look, I just happen to have money on a card. You want to get together and look at my record?" I said, I'll look it up on the phone and show you I'm not a pedophile. They're
mhm,
telling you lies about me. And he said, "No, I don't want to do that." I said, "Well, get the F out of my face." I was
yeah.
pissed.
Oh, dude,
And he
that's
did. He got scared because I was mad. I'd had enough. I was ready to snap. You know how you get to that point sometimes?
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah, but I
hate
was
when
like,
they
"Yeah, I got
do.
a card in my pocket. Let's look up my record. I'm not no pedophile. You want to look at it? You want me to show you they're lying to you?" And he was just like, "No, dude." I was like, "Well, get out of my face."
Yeah.
That happened on Bourbon Street in 2018. I'll never forget it.
Oh my gosh. I should say I did have another incident where I was at a Walmart, and I kept on having people walk up to me. They were nearby me, and they were just criticizing me or making fun of my appearance. But I didn't have uh I'm trying I'm there were so many different times I'm trying to remember. The thing with me was they had a thing for physically torture me. That was what they would mainly do with me, would be, the physical
Weapons.
torture. Yeah. Oh yeah. They Man, there was some nights where, oh my god, And they had a thing for sexual torture too. You know, they attacked my
Yeah,
groin many times.
yeah. They've been shocking my left testicle lately. Shocks, pulses, chant, chant, chant. Never
Oh
had that
God.
happen until a couple weeks ago.
Wow. Yeah, it gets scary when they start doing that. When they
It
start,
hurts too,
oh
bad.
yeah, yeah. I would have to wear in the beginning, this is when I was starting to figure out, oh my God, this is real. There's that video on YouTube about where that guy demonstrates the using the wet towel to block out the microwaves. That and in the beginning it worked. And what I would do is I would wrap a wet towel around my waist, and underneath, like I would look like a sumo almost.
Yeah.
And the pain immediately stopped, but you could still feel the heat and pressure right over my privates.
So what was you using again?
This would be a soaking wet towel,
Okay.
and it worked in the beginning, you know, but after about a month, because I would actually walk around, I would before I would go out, I would get a wet towel, wrap it around my waist, and put my pants on, and it actually did work. But then but then they start increasing the intensity. I swear, I remember there had to be one night where they were so, it felt like being a kid again, getting bullied. Um, so there was probably about 4 or 5 perps that were talking to me. One of them was a young girl who was, she described it as like shooting pool, trying to attack my testicles. Um, while they were doing that, they kept on.
You talking about talking to you through V2K, right?
Yeah, this was over
Yeah.
V2K. They were really angry with me. You know, like you know how they always come up with a reason to attack you, or they'll blame whatever, you know. It's whatever they. It's just to torture you. And what happened was that was the second time my father called the police on me. And I was through. That was the second time I got through to. When I was discharged from the hospital the same day, which that's pretty unusual. When you're through two, they're supposed to hold you for 3 days. I got released after 5 hours, and the second I got discharged, they immediately start hitting me with the theta waves, where I start sleepwalking again. And I
Yeah,
was,
I've slept walk a few times.
oh man, it's horrible.
I met TIs that if they tell a lie, they get targeted hard. If they look at porn, they get targeted hard.
Mhm.
If they steal, they get, it's based on the 7 deadly sins with them. Like if they overeat, they get targeted. Have you ever heard of that?
Uh, this is the first time I'm
It's rare, but
hearing
I've
of
heard a
it.
couple of TIs tell me that. Like if I lie to somebody, I'm gonna get it. Or if
But
I
yeah,
steal,
there are particular situations where if there's a particular activity they do not want me to do, they would
yeah,
absolutely torture me very hard.
crazy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like porn, like somebody watches porn. I know, and he says, "Well, if I watch porn, I'm getting it hard after I watch it." It's crazy.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
they've done that with me. And one of the times they actually they left a rectangular pattern on my scrotum, and they
wow,
like, yeah, it was an inflammation patch. They've also caused my left palm to sizzle and smoke.
wow.
That blew my mind, you know.
Yeah,
That
and people's probably going to be like, "No, that's a little far out there." But man, anybody watching this stuff is real. It's
Yeah.
real.
Oh my gosh.
Like I
It
know somebody, and I don't want to mention her name. I know her name, but I don't want to mention it because I don't have permission to mention it. So, but she gets symbols in her pentagrams, stuff like that will be it's etched in her.
oh my
And
gosh.
she's actually showed these symbols that's been etched in her. She didn't put them there, and it'll be like,
Wow.
well, yeah,
I know. Oh, dude, it is shocking how advanced this technology is, that able to etch in and do it quite well, no less, anything they want to in your skin. It's just mind blowing that they're just
And
so.
I was watching the video earlier and it said that whatever the government tells you, like, well, we're not we don't have this technology yet, but we're in the process. We will in 10 years. If they tell you that, they've got it. They've had it for
Yeah.
years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fact. Like
Oh
this
yeah.
biofield stuff, they're saying that biofield stuff's been around since the 90s. And I'm going to post a video probably tomorrow, the next day, about the biofield, a 5-minute video, and it's going to blow your mind what this woman says about it.
Mm.
So,
I'll definitely. Yeah, I'm sorry about what happened last time. Yeah, I haven't. So I feel bad that I haven't been making any content for my channel, but for the last, like, I every time I start getting motivated to actually start making content for my own channel, they start torturing me harder. They've really socked me, like, with the ear burning, dude. I was gonna go out of my mind. I'm so glad it finally it stopped, but it was for like at last for about almost 3 weeks, and it's strange how they're not doing anything
and
to
see,
that.
the reason I make sure I do video, like my V2K convinces me that one day I'm going to be kidnapped. So I figure, well, if I'm going to be kidnapped, I might as well put videos out. And then if I put videos out and they see me every day, they're going to know that you know what I'm saying? I even got that in
Yeah.
my description. If I
Mhm.
stopped making videos, I was kidnapped. And I'm serious about that,
Oh, I can
because
believe.
my
Yeah.
V2Ks convinced me that over the years heavily.
Mhm.
So,
I mean, just look what happened earlier. Like you're constantly having people, gang stalkers, around your house all day long. Like,
yeah,
I
because I
I
don't
I,
leave the
probably, I
house.
don't mean to feed into that, but like the things that have happened to it, like the fact that I was carjacked.
There's somebody parked outside the house right now. I wish I could show it to you. Like I have the camera right here in my hand, but I can't. Like I don't know. And see, I hate this thing because you can't see it. But anyway,
Mm.
there's a car right there in the street. Can you see him? Probably not.
Yeah. I can see it now. Yeah.
And he's
Uh-huh.
gonna stay there. He's gonna stay there a long time. He's still there.
Does Holly ever go out and say anything to them?
We don't go out and say nothing to them. We just try to ignore them because they look for reactions to log into the supercomputer.
Yeah, you're
They want
absolutely right.
emotional
Yeah.
reactions.
They always want that verification from the reaction. Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, so do you think this ever stops, man?
I I don't think so. I
I
think
mean,
it will
they're
eventually
blaming the
stop.
Russians. That's why I didn't post the video yesterday. I posted a clip of it about them talking about targeting Americans and stuff and how, but then they start blaming the Russians and these other foreign countries. It's hard to believe it's other. What would a foreign country want with targeting me?
Right.
You
Right.
see what I'm saying? What would a foreign country want with targeting you, my girlfriend? I mean, don't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. We don't hold I mean, now, yeah, now
But
we
now
have
they are
intelligence.
they're talking about the Russians are targeting diplomats for America and stuff like that. But I don't, that may be, but it's not but we're testing our own weapons out and got our own research and development going out on our own citizens here. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's
has
all
this affected your health?
so far. I think I've been okay, other than, I do the sleep fatigue. Those I haven't noticed that, like, I have put on some weight, and that's because I'm not getting enough sleep, and I have a tendency to overeat.
Yeah.
So far, I haven't. A little bit of tooth decay. I've gotten that.
Does
Uh,
V2, yeah, these weapons, like I've lost a couple of teeth in 2018. They would shock my teeth. Shock, shock, shock.
oh, you
And
can.
I lost a couple of teeth back then in
Mm,
2018. It was crazy. I'd be on the every time I would call a certain person, my teeth would start getting shocked, like they didn't want me talking to them. Man, there's all kinds of weird varieties they use, man.
there
Uh,
really is. Yeah.
and are you able to hold a job in targeting?
So far, it's been okay. you know, I haven't had any episodes happen since last June. I had an incident happen in March that lasted for about 3 days. But
Like the
other
last
than
few jobs I had before I was disabled, like I would V2K would be like, all right, they're fixing to kill you in this room. And I would just walk out. Like it would have me because they would say it at the same time these people would be looking at me and talking, and I was already getting stalked and stuff. So I would just walk out of the job.
oh my god.
So you are able to hold a job because some people are. My girlfriend she's highly tortured, but you know she's a warrior because it's
Yeah.
hard getting targeted and holding a job.
Oh yeah, very much so. I was, I mean, other than having my ears burned.
But you're probably alone. Ain't you alone during your job? Didn't you say you do some bulldozing work or something?
Yeah, I drive a dump truck, so I'm by myself in the
That's
cab.
good.
And you know, while I was driving, I was holding a frozen bottle of water to the side of my head. And mind you, like anytime you have an ice cube on your skin, it will begin to hurt after you know, 10 to 20 seconds. It I felt no pain from the coldness. Like it was just
Yeah.
barely cutting it. And I could hear the bottle, like the water was just like a few nights ago. I had an ear cube right up to my right earlobe, and the thing was like melting away in my hand. And I'm like, man, I want to record it, but I know again it's not melting fast enough to be like, oh my god, that's very unusual.
Right. But you know it's melting.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, like
Because
them ice caps, man, they get so warmed up so quick when you put them over your
mhm.
head. That's the bad thing about them ice caps. They work though. They give you some relief.
Yeah, I thought I have yeah, I was Walmart actually carries them now for $20. And so yeah, I have five of them. I had that other one that yeah, it had a little the gel packs were a little bit more thicker, but the thing was poorly stitched. And like I was showing you before, they would all bunch up at the bottom. It looked like I was wearing a turban. I was so glad to get rid of that thing. I'm like, it just really it would last a little bit longer. But yeah, it's like here I am. You have to rotate these things out every 15, 20 minutes.
Have you noticed any shielding that works for you? Like I
Not
know Robert
really.
Duncan, when I was in Roy's call, when Robert Duncan came as a guest and we asked him, Robert Duncan said, if you get physical burns, Mylar will work. But other than that, nothing works. Um,
Mylar? I actually have a
well, for physical burns, like if they're
oh,
burning you with direct energy weapons, like physically, he said
okay.
Mylar works. Now, if it don't work and you've been burnt physically, don't go off on me. I'm just saying what he said. I'm not saying, you know, I haven't tried it out because I don't get physical burns. They burn me internally, but
Mhm.
that's what he said. But he said, as far as, but if you don't get physical burns and you get burned on the inside, there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay.
And you know, I've seen Catherine Horton tried to figure stuff out, and she was supposedly, I don't know if that was true or not, an Oxford scientist and all that. She was trying to figure out how to stop shielding. I mean, she supposedly worked for CERN. Now I don't know if that's true or not, and if correct me if I'm wrong in this video, because some people may know more about her than me. But she claimed she worked for CERN and all that, and she couldn't figure it out. I don't think there's a way to figure out shielding. Now there is a dude that's been trying to contact me, and I texted him the other night, but he never texted me back. So I was like, well, I don't even know if that's really him. You know, he gave me a number and I texted him and he never texted me back. I said, hey, this is David, but he's supposedly working on some good shielding stuff. So, you
I
know,
think
there's
the probably the only effect of shielding would be if you're inside a steel box where
or a
the
Faraday cage grounded, but you
right
can't stay in a Faraday cage all day.
exactly, yeah. Like I like if you like you would need like sheet metal paneling at least a quarter-inch thick. I'm thinking like if you're inside of a steel box with at least walls that are at least 1 inch thick. But again, how are you going to possibly afford that? And if you could, you can't live inside a square box all day long.
Right. Did you see the video I posted of John McAfee, the one that runs McAfee, the one that McAfee antivirus? Now I think he's dead now, but
Yeah, he
he
was murdered. Well, he was
yeah, he had a whole
suicided.
room full of jammers. And did you see that video I posted? It's one of my short videos, I think. It's got him and he's talking about his room. it's all still, like you said, still plated and all. And I wonder if it works for him.
I missed that video. This week I was doing like lots of, did you upload it recently or?
It may have been in my regular videos. See, I got 400 videos, man, that are worth watching too. But you know, I that's the bad thing about doing videos. Then you're so far down, people that join and are new subscribers, they miss out on good content because of the other videos getting in the way. So I would have to go through all my videos to see about the John McAfee one.
Yeah, that John, they out his wife still have, they won't release his remains, his back to his wife. They have his body somewhere right now.
Yeah, but he claimed he was being targeted with weapons.
Oh yeah.
And he you know, he's got McAfee antivirus on a lot of computers and everything. Like he made that stuff. He designed that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he made, there was it could have been, I gotta watch the video. He was doing he made a music video or something like that where he had like all these women in his room. I gotta check that out with the shielding. Probably what helps is but I don't know. Brian too said the signal jammers would only work if you were tuned into that specific frequency. I like to find out. I'll be honest. I was really close to dropping $600 for one of those higher end signal jammers. You know,
Yeah, well,
but
I've heard don't drop no money because it's not worth it. But
right, yeah, I was like, I'm like, if I buy this thing, I'm not going to be able to return it. So I didn't like, and that's the thing. Like, I think the only real shielding that works is like, thick metal plating in a secured location. But there, other than that, I know for a fact that they know what works. Because again, God forbid if they ever had their own technology turned against them, that they know exactly how to handle it.
yeah, I've heard that, like, because somebody's, you know, the question was raised, and I think Robert Duncan answered that question. Well, why, if these weapons are real, why ain't they burning Putin in them with them? Well, I've heard people like Putin and stuff have this geofencing with these big time jammers, expensive jammers that we couldn't even afford, that protect that area. Because you know the Russians did start the weapons, the silent weapons, and Putin is all about silent weapons. And he talks about it freely. He said the war won, the next war that's going to be won is not going to be by bullets. He said that, but that don't mean that the Russians are doing it to innocent Americans. But I think America's just right in the game with these weapons and is really testing them out on us. You know, I can't even
that
leave
would
the
make
house.
perfect
My
sense.
B2K has me so freaked out and stuff. And then when I try to leave the house, I start getting choked up. I can't breathe. I get very paranoid around people. Have really bad anxiety attacks around people because I'm thinking everybody's in. I'm convinced everybody's in on it at this point. I've seen whole airports gang stalk me. So
Yeah.
it's really got me where I can't even go out the side of the house without having a panic attack. And I've tried Ativan and everything, and it just.
I mean, they literally they have their agents on the street, gang stalking you, and then they have anybody that can be mind controlled or psychotronically.
I mean, they were opening and closing the garage door when I first got here. Like that's back when I smoked cigarettes. Now I'm vaping, but we would be sitting out in the garage to smoke because that's where we had to smoke, and the garage door would just open and shut.
Wow.
So now what I figured out is you cut the breaker and you put a bar in that garage door when you're not using it. You cut the breaker to the garage. That way they can't open it.
Yeah. That
you talking about freaky? It's 11 o'clock at night and the garage door opens. You know?
Yeah.
Freaked out.
It's amazing how they're just able to access almost any electronic device. They're just able to do it. I don't have a garage door, but they would randomly turn on my printer, turn my TV on. Like they've done other things around my house, like turn my phone off.
They do that with my air conditioners. We got two portable air conditioners. They are evaporative coolers.
Mhm.
and they'll turn them on every now and then. They'll do the
Oh my god.
TV too every now and then too, or start turning the TV up real loud and turn it down or mute it or whatever. They do all that.
Oh my gosh. It's ridiculous, man. It just the money that's being wasted, like and the everything. It's like,
But you know, they're getting ready for some kind of warfare.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh, it
If they're
definitely.
wasting all this
Mhm.
money, they're getting ready for some kind of mind control warfare on somebody.
Mhm.
And you know, they're using it as a population control to kill innocent Americans and innocent people, because it's happening all over the world. It's not just America.
Uh-huh.
So maybe it's just a population control, which I really don't think they need these weapons for population control, because they got all kinds of other stuff going on with food and all that other stuff. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's
Mhm.
crazy. I was watching this YouTube channel yesterday. This dude named Titus. Um, I don't know if you watch this dude on YouTube, but he goes around America, like in bad neighborhoods, Appalachia and stuff like that, just interviewing people. This dude don't have no electricity in his trailer. He has a phone, a landline, but he's an Amish. He follows the Amish ways, and dude grows his own stuff. He owns land. He's growing his own stuff, and he takes a bath in the creek. It's one man. It was an
Oh, you
awesome
know
video.
what? I did watch that. This I
Dude
watched
named
last
Titus.
week. Yeah, yeah. That's
He
I did
walks
watch.
barefooted.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
being. They were interviewing him, or
yeah.
okay, yeah. I did see that. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like,
That's what I wish I could do, man. Be, not
mhm.
even rely on this electronic system no more, and just be off grid like him. You seen how that PC is? You know,
Yeah. I mean that was more or less how I mean I'm 40 years old and I remember growing up pre-internet.
yeah.
I remember.
When we left home growing up on bicycles, you didn't hear from us until we came home,
Right, yeah.
unless we stopped at a neighbor's house and used the phone. Now
Mhm.
people know where everybody's at all times, and people don't even want to go out. Used to go outside and play all day, and they'd lock it's not lock you out, but you got to go outside and play. Now kids
Yeah.
just want to stay on the thing and do Facebook,
Yup.
and it's really taking over the world and messing the things up and making targeting easier, because
Yo,
now the
yeah,
whole grid
yeah.
is set. Now anybody become a target. I think everybody's targeted in a way, they just don't know it right now. But
Mhm.
except I really do think eventually everybody will be a target. They just don't, and a lot of them are targets and don't even know it yet.
Right, yeah, that's absolutely true. There was quite a few people I met in Philadelphia that I'm certain they were targeted and they didn't realize it. I know Richard Lighthouse said that everyone's being tracked. Now, occasionally, the top of my head will itch, and I think that's a side effect of the targeting system. It
Yeah,
just
because that's where your cerebral cortex. That's where they shock me, and that's they take control of your cerebral cortex. That's how they're able to see through your eyes too.
oh
Uh,
yeah, oh,
when
yeah, yeah.
when they have your neural signature, they can take control of your visual cortex and they can see through your eyes. That's how
And
they're able to do it, through the
do
visual cortex.
okay. I had wondered about that from before, but it's wild. Like I'm guessing they can see clearly, as clear as day.
Yeah,
I
when they
remember.
say hacking the brain, they can hack the brain. And what they do, they hack the different cortexes: visual cortex, cerebral
Yeah.
cortex. When they hack the cerebral cortex, they can make your arms flop. They can make your whole body vibrate, just one arm vibrate.
Mm,
Your ears heat, just your ears heat up. That's how they're able to do it. They hijack your cerebral cortex, and then they got access to all the nerves.
oh my gosh. Yeah, they I remember the very first time they revealed to me that they were able to see through my eyes. They emphasized to me about the color blue. And they have and later on the do attacks on Maui, all the houses. Yeah, I think you may have
Yeah,
posted a video about that. But yeah, the color, dude, that blew my mind. So I try to. There's days where I wear all blue, and it doesn't make a difference.
right.
But
I just
that
wonder
was
why them roofs were left safe.
yeah, yeah,
I wonder if it's really something to do with the blue,
yeah, yep,
or if it's
yeah,
a psyop.
yeah. I mean, I did. They did have that video where the laser could not ignite the color blue, but it could be a psyop. I mean, they could change that frequency so it doesn't burn the color red. I mean, the technology is just that advanced that they're able to do that. It blows me away that they're able to, whatever you visualize in your mind, they're able to see that. I more clearly than we can probably.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first things that was like the first week, the person, the head programmer, as I referred to him as, the whole entire time he was talking to me like he was my therapist. And towards the end of our discussion, I remember imagining a T-Rex with a and whatever I exactly imagined it, they pretended to be freaked out by it, but like I could not believe that they're able to do all of this now.
Yeah, dude, I went to the hospital one time, and I was 5 hours away from where my ex-wife was. Well, this woman come in and that looked just like my ex-wife. I thought she was my ex-wife. She's got the same voice and everything. She's talking crazy. I'm your nurse today, and you know who I am,
Wow.
don't you? And I'm seeing this now. I don't know how they done it, what they did, but I swear to God, this happened. And matter of fact, um, it was after my first do attack and stuff and V2K attack. It's where I was on the, you know how you got a sidewalk right here, you got a sidewalk, and then you got grass to your left and the road to your right. Well, when I started getting hit my first time, I started heating up. My brain is heating up. I can barely see. I'm talking about they're making me feel like my brain is just frying. So when I step on the grass, it gets even worse. So when I step on the road where cars are coming, it stops. So I can barely see because I've been attacked so hard. And I'm walking on this road because I know it's just stopped. Well, there's cars coming. Well, the police officer stops. Yeah. So, and he takes me to the mental hospital. And that's when I was waiting to go to the mental hospital. That's when I saw I don't know if they mind hobbled me or whatever to do that.
Yeah,
But man, it was crazy.
I would not be surprised if they actually somehow got an agent in that room that had, like, they specifically found somebody that resembled your wife,
Yeah.
you know, or sometimes things just happen to work out for them.
Or maybe they got in contact with her because she was a big part of my target, and maybe they got in
Oh,
contact with
yeah,
her while
yeah,
they were
that's
doing this, and
possible.
they're like, "All right, at the end of this torture, we're going to have a cop pull up, take him to the mental hospital. We need you down here. Can you drive
Mhm.
down here?" Because it looked just like her, sounded just like her. Now my B2K sounds just like her, so but so they could mimic the voice, but yeah, it was a crazy experience, man.
Wow.
And then I
Yeah,
ended up two
they
weeks
had.
in the hospital for that.
Oh my gosh. Well,
The mental hospital in Springfield, Missouri.
what
Because
kind?
they had to play it off as mental because they didn't want nobody to believe what I said.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. How were you feeling that whole time? Were you just feeling completely run down?
Oh yeah. I was. Matter of fact, my vision was blurry. I couldn't. I had to have glasses for the first 2 months after my first attack. I had to wear
Wow.
glasses. Now I don't need glasses. Now ain't that crazy? So it
Yeah.
really messes with your vision if you get it. Like they attacked me hard. My brain was frying inside, like it was crazy, and my vision got blurry. I couldn't see. I couldn't think straight. They were putting thoughts in my head. Like they really hit me hard that first time, and that was during Jade Helm. I don't know if you knew about Jade Helm.
Oh, yeah. A little bit,
That was in
about.
the middle of that operation when I was watching all the videos about that going on and stuff.
Mhm.
And sure enough, I think I was in the middle of Jade Helm because they were testing AI and in the Jade Helm operations, they were testing AI to see if they could control dissidents in the middle of martial law. You see what I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay.
They were
I,
seeing if
I.
they could mind control you and keep you in check in martial law. You know what I'm saying? Like if you try to get out of hand, if they can control you, and they
Oh
sure
yeah,
did.
yeah.
They had me. I remember this is going to sound crazy, but this dude said, "I'm over here. I'm behind the bushes." And I was walking like in a trance, like you're talking about, to
Mhm.
behind the bushes. And then I heard a voice say, "I'm not behind the bushes no more." Ha ha. Well,
Yeah.
man, they were doing all kinds of stuff to me that day. That's when it first started. All they mind hobbled me bad.
Oh man. They would do the same. They would do the same thing to me. They would try to convince me that someone was outside. And I'm like, no, you're not. No one's out there.
Yeah.
And eventually, after they wouldn't, like they would act like somebody was driving up, like, and they could actually I could hear it would sound like but I could still tell the difference if there was an actual vehicle outside and like their audio or their special effects aren't that great. Well, at the time it wasn't, but they try to convince me people were always outside. I'm like, no, they're not.
And people are going to look at this video. Some people's going to doubt what we're saying, but I
Mhm.
promise y'all, this stuff's real, y'all. This
Yeah,
stuff has
it's
got the power
very
to
real.
manipulate your reality and all that. And it's sad that not many people believe in this, but if you watch my video from yesterday, it shows a whole group of government people in there discussing these weapons and how they can hack your brain and
Mhm.
stuff. So if you start doubting what they can do, go ahead and watch that video. If you're one of them people that have to watch government and news stuff to believe it, well, it's hit the news. So
Oh
and
man.
we got
Oh
about 5 minutes. Is there
yeah, yeah.
anything to say?
I guess
I think this is a great interview personally,
yeah,
don't you?
it absolutely is. Yeah, I always really enjoy talking to you, Dave. I I'll tell you what, I truly believe we will be vindicated one day. Hopefully we'll be still here. We'll still be here, to be vindicated, but we will be.
Yeah.
Um,
And I don't even care if I get money or not. I just want it to stop and get my life back.
yeah, same here. I've all I ever wanted was to live in peace and to live, I just really enjoy being a nice guy and living, more living
Be able to
normal.
walk out the door without getting stalked and having the
Uh-huh.
paparazzi following you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Have a normal life. Be
Yeah.
left alone like all these other people.
Right. Yeah,
Oh,
there's times where I often wonder if I was targeted for much longer than before 2020, because I've had a lot of unusual things happen to me throughout my life, and but man, yeah, the technology is very real. They have they 5G is weaponized. They are using it to mind control people, and for target individuals like us, they're using it to read our minds and our biometric data. um I've been in some of the communities I've been talking to. I don't think they can, as of right now, I don't think they can easily just immediately read your mind. Like Brian too was saying, they need a lot of information on you, and then they need your EEG. Then they can read your mind.
yeah.
Um,
Your neural signature. Yeah.
and but I know they can immediately use mind control on people, because it's happened immediately right in front of me, where all of a sudden I have again people just doing the same thing, staring at me, being like real crude to me, real ignorant, and man, but it's just been a living hell. It is a living hell for us, and some days are a little bit better than others. Like today's been a better day. They haven't been burning my ears, which, oh, no, my ear is warm. I haven't realized it. But they're not burning it. It's
But they're
always
not
warm.
burning it. Yeah.
It is warm right now, but it's been, I haven't
Well, they
really
might make you pay
noticed
for
it.
this interview. You already know how they do. They turn it up on us after we
Yeah,
expose,
that's
punish
probably what they're
us.
going to do. That's their, yup. But you know what? To help them, because they were going to do it anyway. They
Yep.
they always they always find a reason. If they didn't do anything, then maybe it's almost what's that word I'm looking for? like it's almost counterproductive, you know what I mean? Like if they just actually stop torturing us, then we wouldn't release any information about them. But since they're going to do it to us anyway, Well, I mean, I would still, to be honest, I would still release information on them as much as I can. People have to know about this. They have to know about all these government technologies that they're using on the private citizens. Um, it's so yeah, it's been you know, I think that's I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's about all I have for right now.
Well, thank you, man. And I'm going to end the interview now, but if you stay on, we can chat just for a second, and then I'm
Yeah,
waiting on you.
definitely.
All right.
Dave, I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much. Everyone, check out Dave's channel. I'll be
Yeah,
I
and
have
I
a
wish you'd start making content, man.
oh
We need
yeah,
as
I
many as we
definitely will
can to
be.
start
I'm
making content. But I'm
yeah,
going to end the recording right now.